tell you about myself, I have to tell you something about my father. I can't avoid it. And the first thing he'd want me to tell you about him is that he loved England. That's what he always said. He came here to study at Oxford University, French literature. And at one of his lectures, he met my mother, an English girl. And then father got a job in an English company that made parts for cars. Jack and Susie, my father and mother. But poor father always felt that his old friends, the people he'd known when he was a student, had no understanding of the work he did. He would always tell us that they didn't have a clue. He used to say that over and over and over again.
I love England. It's a beautiful place. The gardens are lovely. Those English roses. The way they take that strawberry jam and clotted cream at their high teas. Crumpets in particular are amazing, I think. The way they absorb butter like some living creature. The way they get richer and richer with all that added butter. You just can't find anything like that in America at all. But you know, it's interesting. There are some fantastic misconceptions about English life. And one of them is the amazing idea that economic life in England is somehow relaxed, not very intense. Well, when I hear that, I get a very big reaction, I can tell you. In fact, the first thing I tell people about economic life in England is that it is very intense, very intense. To begin with, it's very hard to get a good job over here. And once you get a good job, it's very hard to keep hold of it. People just don't realize that once you have a good job, in order to keep that job, you have to perform. You really have to perform. On the executive level, you have to perform. If you don't believe me, try sitting at my desk for 1 week, do the work that I do, and you'll see. That's just what I tell my old friends who ask me about it in their somewhat awkward way. They're academics, scholars, and writers who tell me they have to use their brains to do their work. But what do I have to use to do mine? My feet? That's why I tell them, sit at my desk for 1 week, do the work that I do, and tell me whether or not you need your brains to do it. Well, maybe you're so smart, you don't need your brains. I don't know. Maybe I'm stupid or something. But just try it. And after 1 week, give me a report. Those lazy bastards would drop to their knees after just 1 day of doing the work that I do. Because you see, the amazing thing about the work that I do is you can't just do your work and then say to yourself, job well done, my boy, job well done. That's what writers do. That's what scholars do. And if you're a writer or scholar, great, fine. No one in the world can tell you, no, you did a bad job. Or well, maybe they can, but then you can say, no, you don't understand. I did a very good job. You see, in my work, there is an actual test that will tell you, beyond doubt or question or debate, whether or not, in fact, you did a good job or you did a bad job. And that test is, how did your product do in the marketplace? Did people buy it? They did? Oh, well, very good. They didn't? Oh, well, I'm very, very sorry to tell you that your work was bad. It was very bad. You did a bad job. There's no use saying, well, people just didn't understand me in 20 years. They'll know I was right. In 20 years, your product won't be on the shelf, you see. It will be obsolete in 20 years. In 20 years, your product will be out of date. It will be worthless garbage. So you see, the judgment passed on the work that I do is extremely harsh. And the punishment for doing badly is very simple. You have to leave. On the executive level, you work hard. You go in, you work hard, and you pay attention. You go in the next day, you work hard again, and you pay attention again. If you miss 1 day, or if you go in and you think, well, today I'm not going to work very hard, or today I'm not going to pay attention, that could very well be the day that you make a mistake that will cost you your job, that will cost you everything. I've seen it happen to many people. I've seen it more than 1,000 times, dear.
Some people have warm memories of their family table. I can't say I I didn't eat.
Susie, I know how you feel. I know how you feel. But you've got to get yourself under control. It's a terrible, terrible situation, but you're causing it.
Oh, no, please.
Yes, I'm right about this. I am right about this. You have got to get yourself under control. Because if you don't, we're going to have a very sick little girl around here. And I mean a very sick little girl. Do you understand what I'm trying to tell you? What I'm trying to say is the doctors will come and take her away from us. Don't you know that? Look, when she's not in the room, when she can't hear you, you can scream, you can cry. I'll cry too. I'll cry right along with you. But when she's in the room, you keep quiet. Look, what we're dealing with here is a very sick little girl, a helpless little girl. She cannot help but feel sick. Don't you realize that? She would like to be well. She would like to be well.
Love, please, you'll be coming.
No, you leave me alone. You leave me alone right now. Don't you tell me what I'm becoming. Don't you dare. What? What the hell? What do you think that I'm becoming? Are you trying to tell me I'm becoming nothing? Is that the word that you want? Is that it?
I listened in the way that children listen. I didn't actually hear the points they were making point for point. It was more of a sound I heard. There was a certain sort of sound she made, and a certain sort of sound from him. My mother was a saint. She loved him very dearly, but my father was a kind of a caged animal. He'd been deprived of everything that would keep him healthy. His life was unsanitary in every way. His entire environment, his cage, was unclean. He was never given a thorough washing. So no wonder. His fur was falling out. He was growing thinner and thinner every day. His teeth were rotten. His shit was rotten. And of course he stank. He stank to hell. When we sat at the table, as if everything was normal, everything was fine, there was an overpowering stench that was coming from my